Hey, what's up, y'all? Dan back at you with another video. This one I think is kind of important to get out. This one is going to be me walking you through how to get this exotic deep dive mission done so you and your team can get Wicked Implement. Now, I will preface this with a few things that kind of makes this a lot easier. I do think you want to have one Warlock with running either Phoenix Protocol Well of Radiance or Cenotaph Well of Radiance. What this does is this gives you a kind of safety net where sitting in the well will of course give you a 25% damage buff. It'll also generate 3 orbs, which you and your fire team can then pick up to have armor charges, which then you can tie into your weapon surges. I think one thing people a lot of times forget are weapon surges help a lot in this thing. I've done a lot of helps of this mission this week, and I've noticed a lot of people that are struggling with this are not using weapon surges and not using things that will allow you to do a lot of damage in a short time. So I'm not going to talk too much for this video, but I will preface this with a few things throughout the video that I think you should take advantage of. I have one of my runs that I think is a pretty good run that wasn't too long. Of course, you have about 10 minutes to get this done, so I wanted to do this 10-minute video with a few mess ups and show you what I like to do, my thought process while doing it, and why I do the things that I do in my runs. Of course, after this video, if you're still having issues getting this done, feel free to come through my Twitch stream. I'm doing helps with this every single day, doing double carries, making sure I get as many people the Wicked Implement as possible. First thing I want to make sure we address is the maze room with the Tormentor. Now this is where a lot of people get stuck trying to find where the 3 Minotaurs are. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen while I walk you through this. There are going to be 4 locations that the Minotaurs are going to possibly spawn. You need 3 of them. So you have 1 in each corner. You want to make sure you take advantage of the close left and close right first. Whichever one doesn't show up, you know it's going to be in the other 3 locations. What I generally like to do is I like to go left, bottom left. The moment you drop down, go left. If I see them there, I know that's one of them down, and then I go top left and then top right. That is traditionally what I do. That generally gives me a really quick clear and get right to DPS. Now, if he's not there in bottom left, then I know the other 3 locations are going to be there. I always just go bottom left, top right, bottom right, and then go middle. Use that strategy and you're going to always have a very quick Minotaur clear. If you have someone else that's really comfortable, you can have going bottom left and bottom right, and then go top left and top right, and then come back and meet in the middle. Now what gets a lot of people tripped up is on the second phase after any damage is done. Any damage done will then cause the Minotaurs to clear in a little bit closer. There'll be 4 hallways, I'll highlight them as well, 4 hallways that are in those vicinities of bottom left, top right, bottom right. Think of it as every time you do damage, the Minotaurs get closer and closer to the middle. So on the first damage phase, they're all in the corners. Second damage phase, or any damage phase after you've done some damage, they squeeze in. They're going to stay there until you get them to you get the boss below half health. Generally about 1/3 health left. The moment that happens, you're going to see them spawn in the little corners in the middle of the arena. If you remember that, it makes it a lot easier to know where the Minotaurs are, so you can have you and your partners just instantly go to those sections and then destroy them and get back to DPS. The faster you can take down the Minotaurs, the more time you have for DPS, the easier this gets. Now on top of that, I like to do a thing where I have the well in the middle. I know some people cheese it, but this is not taking into account the cheese. I like to run a divinity with well. If you run with Phoenix Protocol, by the time DPS is over, you should either be closer to another well or almost to another well. Because of Phoenix Protocol, you're also taking a lot of damage in the well, so of course you get an increased super regen when you're taking damage. If you have a different person with well, this makes it even easier. You have one with Phoenix, another with Cenotaph, but whoever's running Divinity needs to make sure they have Cenotaph. As you can tell, I'm not running it because I think it's more important to have a Phoenix Protocol for more wells. But if you and your team have the appropriate loadouts, you want to make sure you have one with Cenotaph so you have the constant damage uptime with never having to reload, and then the other person will run Phoenix so you can have more wells. Outside of that, supers are whatever you want to. You want to have one-off supers if possible. The last thing you want is for your super to get suppressed, because he will suppress you 24/7. So it's important to make sure you have one-off supers and just stuff that you can just instantly hit them and then not have the chance of getting suppressed. Now in this video, you're going to see us using Thunderlord. If you have Thunderlord with the Catalyst, every time you damage him, sooner or later it's going to send a lightning strike. That lightning strike will stun lock him. And if you have two people with Thunderlord, you'll basically never get the ability to suppress you at all. And he'll just constantly just two-step all around. And it doesn't stop until either the people stop hitting him with Thunderlord, or until the damage phase ends, or until you run out of ammo. Of course, you've probably seen it, but now that makes it way easier. If you do these things together, you will not run out of time. Even if you spend time on the second damage phase not being able to kill him, you got plenty of time to do a third one. If you're struggling with ammo still, then one of the other people not running Cenotaph and Phoenix Protocol can run Aeons. Now with Aeons, you can finish those Minotaurs and generate heavy. Now if you run it with Cenotaph, you can make sure you have the person use the Cenotaph Divinity on the Minotaur and then have the Aeons finish them. You'll have more heavy for your entire team. Doing this will make it to where you're not going to struggle at all, even if LFG. Now I know what you're saying. Why don't I use Briar's Contempt? Why don't I use Forerunners? If you like using that, use it. What I find with this is that no matter your playstyle, no matter your experience, this makes it really easy. Now you do gotta have the Thunderlord Catalyst, but because majority of people have Thunderlord, I do feel like there's a majority of people that also have the Catalyst. Also, I do believe more people have Thunderlord than have Briar's Contempt and have a good roll of Briar's Contempt. So that's also why I suggest that if you have Briar's Contempt, that's also really good to hear. I also like personally running Retrofit Escapade. Retrofit does insane damage to him and it's just as good as Thunderlord. However, Thunderlord does stun lock him. So do with that information what you will. I've done this with both Thunderlord and I've done this with Retrofit. Retrofit is probably a little bit better damage because you can add on Izanagi's Burden for even more damage and one phase him, but you can also one phase him with Thunderlord if your team has enough ammo. For the rest of the video, I'm just going to let the rest of it play out, let you hear the comms, and I do think this will help you a lot. Here's a couple tips and tricks I wanted to give you. If you have any questions, if you have any extra suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. If you did enjoy this video, I appreciate you all so much for watching it, and I will see you in the next one. Maybe the game will give me ammo. Maybe. Maybe. There we go. Even without hitting anything, Div is still doing a lot of damage by itself. That's crazy. Oh my god, the slow and suppression combo is insane. Alright, Mr. Man. Come here. And at least we had like a billion years after the first damage phase that we could like choke. It'll be fine. And so like multiple minutes ago.